Hi there, this is Martin from CAPEDWONDEREUROPE.com. I'm here with my very good friends, Andrew Hanton, Superman Collector Extraordinaire. Say hi, Andy.
Hi.
Also with Alexei and Andrew of... Introduce your website,
Hi, superarchive-christopherreeve.co.uk.
And also the super events. This is going to get very, very big, very, very soon. We've already had one event. It was a spectacular success. I think
great,
we
yeah.
all agree,
Yes.
weren't we? There are huge, massively ambitious things to come. Probably too ambitious, frankly, but we're going to go through them anyway. So if you have been following us, and if you haven't, please do, because if you're a Superman fan from this point on, super events is going to be the next big thing. Anyway, beyond that, here we are. We're back in Propstore. We said after the last one it was never going to be as good. How could we possibly get that many original Superman lots in one place at one time? But blow me if we're not here again. And the lots are even more spectacular.
Full costume this time.
Full costume this time. And also some incredible surprises. We're going to talk you through. We're going to drive in really close to these artifacts today. Something that in other videos that you may have seen already, they're terrific introductions. But being the Superman fans that we are, and the fans that you are, we know that you like to get really close to these things and examine all the minutiae, and that's what we love to do also. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to drive around each and every one of these terrific lots, and they are terrific lots, aren't they?
Yeah, amazing.
What's your favourite lot?
The Kryptonite rock from Superman 3.
Kryptonite rock from Superman 3, Al?
It's got to be the scripts or the boots.
The boots are a huge revelation, folks. Already had some inquiries about those in terms of, well, they don't look that colour on the film, and you're right, they don't, because they're predominantly black. But we're here to show you the fact that they are in fact maroon. And we're going to try and show you in different lights and that kind of thing. We're going to throw some light onto them and turn them into the light to see if we can get that kind of response that you see from as they appear in the film. Because to all intents and purposes, they are red, and I've been saying this for decades. Nobody listens to me, but I've been saying it for decades, and it's going to be terrific to be able to prove some of the theories that we've had. Yeah. And again, with this spectacular example of the costume, I mean, just does it get any better than that? I don't think it does. This is a spectacular example made from, or should I say, kind of put together from various costume pieces from all the different Salkind. And I emphasize the Salkind pictures especially, because from Superman 1, 2 and 3 we know that they were put together this way. For Superman 4 it was a different production company and therefore wasn't the same. We've managed to formulate a bit of a theory about that because if you haven't seen Stephen Lane's conversation with Adam Savage,
yeah.
That serves as a perfect introduction to the Superman costume. But for right now, today, as good a Salkind example as you're ever going to see. Combination of Superman 1, 2 and 3, a flying cape with tights from 2, I think it is, and a top from 3, yeah. Which we've managed in the very short time that this has been advertised to kind of discern that this was used in the frozen lake scene, shot in Black Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Where he freezes the lake and Superman free to take away. That's what we believe this is from, which is, how good is that? So whoever is thinking about, adding this to their collection, it's going to be a great talking point to say, well, this bit is from this bit and this bit is from that bit. And as a combination, it's incredibly unique. And the cape, wow. The cape is probably my favourite part of it because it is, an ex-cape flapping cape, because it was used again subsequently in the different scenes and repaired. I mean, we're going to show you, but the slits in the side used to accommodate the cables to help Chris fly have been stitched up, and pockets have been added to the bottom. All along the bottom of the hem to accommodate the cape flapping device, which again, if you scroll through my YouTube channel, the actual cape flapping device, which is currently with one of our very good friends in the US who restored it, who did just an immense job to get that going again. I mean, that was a major moment.
Piece of technology, though,
amazing piece of clockwork technology.
Just like that. And it does actually give the creation of flight, doesn't it? The way it's filmed side on, it does actually look like the cape is flapping in the wind.
I've said it for years, the British craftsmanship that went into this picture and the subsequent films afterwards is unsurpassed. I mean, it's such a silly little thing when you think about it, but the effect on film, nobody knew for decades that that's how it actually did it. Anyway, we're going to drive you through it. There's no stone left unturned. You're going to get the full experience. I really hope you enjoy it. So let's start with the first of these incredible lots. Now this was an absolute revelation. Of all the things that we've come across in Propstore before, bits and pieces of this we knew to exist.
We've seen boots appear, but I haven't seen a full costume appear, especially on a mannequin like this. It's perfect mannequin for this costume.
And what are our impressions of it when we look at it as it is right now?
She must have been cold. There's not a lot to it, is there? You know, it's very sheer, very thin.
Whenever you look or whenever you hear interviews with Sarah talking about this, she's very fond of saying that there are slits in it so you can see me in places that you actually can't. But this is definitely a chiffon type fabric, very thin. So, and it's the same all over. It's ribbed at the collar, ribbed at the shoulders, ribbed all the way down the leg seams into these spectacular boots. But moreover, the question that keeps being asked is, well, how come all this trim, all these details, how come they all appear red in certain shots and black in others? Well, we don't have a definitive answer, I'm glad to say, because if that's the case, then it's still a mystery and we're still going to be looking into it. But all we can discern so far is that this is more than likely an Ursa costume from the Richard Leicester years.
Yeah.
The maroon would have been here on the cuff, the maroon would have been through this here stripe, down through the legs also. And in a lot of the scenes from the Donnercut, that became more prevalent than ever, because right up until, I mean, every TV viewing of this, solid black, not even a hint of the fact that they may have been red. But in the Donnercut, the red just stands out from the screen. So if we look at the boots and the construction, we can see that is what I guess we'd call patent leather. Thigh high, tiny feet, maybe a 2-3 inch heel. I can see gaffer tape on the back of one heel here. The zippers are interesting because one boot here has a zipper all the way from the front to the back, top to bottom, and this other boot has a zipper right in the side, and there's another gaffer tape repair here. You can imagine actually that with the wear and tear that these things suffered, along with Chris's boots, that they just lob gaffer tape onto everything just as quick repairs. And when we look at the non-boots in a moment, they have studio repairs on as well, which, you know, is terrific kind of provenance with everything, because that's how we know that they were used, because, you know, they're in a state where they've been worn. So
the boots are actually a different pair, aren't they? They're not a matching pair. If you look at the stitching down at the bottom, you can see a curved angle down here, whereas it is actually perfectly straight there. So I'm wondering if the boot on this side is a walking boot,
yeah,
and the boot on this side is a flying boot. Because if you filmed it from the left side, you wouldn't see the zip at all because it's hidden on the inside.
There's a metallic sheen to the details. I wonder what Sarah would think of this. I mean, I'd love to see a reaction if she saw this again. I mean, she'd still fit right into it like a glove, I would imagine. But nevertheless, here it is, a complete Ursa costume. What a superb lot. And it's going under the gavel in a matter of hours as we stand here, isn't it? Yeah. So moving swiftly on from that, from one Kryptonian haute couture to another, General Zod's boots. Terence Stamp himself, who I know for some reason was a size 9, because it's the same as me. I don't know why I know that, but there we go.
See, in that light, it really does capture the red. It is very apparent. It's coming out on the camera as being that red to it. It's kind of like a browny red.
It is a maroon, a really deep maroon. What I love about them, I mean, there's no doubt that this is Yvonne Blake, because this, the Kryptonian aesthetic, if you will, in other words, the point that you see present in Superman's boots.
That's a lovely little detail there,
isn't it? Just
yeah.
Because it needn't be there. And again, we have a zipper in the ankle as opposed to right down the back, which would click into your theory quite nicely.
Well, aren't these supposed to be the water boots? Is it marked somewhere on there? They were the water boots.
Well, I don't know if there's any details inside. There may be. Right.
So potentially he could have been flying. Yeah, there we go. Water. So he may have
Water.
come down and landed and then walked on water on these.
So was that Black Park again that was shot?
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
So in Black Park, when Terence Stamp rises out of the water on the platform, this is what he's wearing. This feels like a suede in the bottom. And again, I mean, they're incredibly tailored. I mean, there's no kind of structure other than, you know, a foot being stuck in there. No heel, no support, no nothing else visible that I can see. But again, just this lovely style of, when you watch the picture as they walk, these pointed flaps they come out as again. We have inside water. So this must be a matching pair.
Yes. But also to note, it also says Western inside, doesn't it? Mr. Western.
Western.
Western's.
So handwritten in biro. And we all know who Mr. Western is. That will be Mr. Paul Western, stuntman.
Yep.
Marvellous guy. So that's interesting. That doesn't mean they weren't worn by Terence, though, does it?
No.
He probably would have just jumped straight into them. I can't imagine that there were many of these put together. Jack O'Halloran Esquire. Now these are a different ball game completely. Look at the... Marlon Brando was very fond of pointing out that these were like geisha boots back in the day.
He could have gone from the film set out to dancing at a disco in those.
That's what, three good inches of addition to the bottom. Side zip, same Kryptonian styling. And inside, the absolute kicker, J. O'Halloran. I'm also seeing some handwritten details in the top. It says Mr. O'Halloran again, handwritten in biro. Pretty crudely applied patch right in the top here. And there's a second one on the second boot, which I'll show you in a second. But yeah, what an item. As you can see, the patch here is stitched right onto the wound, whatever that may be. Side zip. That's the first time that I've heard of that 3 Kryptonian boots have ever been offered at an auction. That makes it very unique also. And the condition speaks for itself. I mean, they look virtually untouched since the late 70s. I mean, that, again, doesn't get better than
Not
that.
bad for 40 years, is it?
Not
at
bad
all?
for 40 years old. I bet Jack would love to be reunited with these as well. Knowing Jack the way we do, we'd probably try and stick him on. Some of you might remember this appearing in last year's auction. The Jack O'Halloran non-miniature from Superman 2. Roughly, what, 15, 16 inches long. Incredible lightness for the scale. Screen used in most of the Metropolis battle.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually one of my favourite pieces. How simple it actually is, and how it does actually look like a very good cast of Jack. Especially using the technology that they had back then. It would have been hand sculpted. The string would have gone through for the model to fly. It goes through his head.
And so we come to my favourite lot. Anybody was wondering? This is extraordinary. If anybody watching knows about me, then they will know that I have literally written the book on this subject. I'll bring the link up in the description for the video. But I wrote an article a couple of years ago called "Take the Gentleman's Cape," which chronicles the entire history from Siegel and Schuster onwards, and finishing up right here with Yvonne Blake's incredible adaptation. This is the highlight of the Propstore auction. This is the cover star this year, rightly so. £500,000 is the is what people are saying. And when people said to me, "Isn't that ridiculously expensive?" Well, yes, well, of course it is, and rightly so. I mean, this is it. It deserves that. It has that kind of that magic about it. the prestige in this actual costume, and this one in particular. And of all the, again, if you scroll through my YouTube channel, you'll see all the times that we've been here and we've spoken about this. And again, this is a very interesting combination of costume pieces. As we look at the shield there, it took us years to kind of break down how this process. I mean, considering the fact that, you know, Miss Blake back in the day could have gone any way she wanted with it. She could have just had an applique, you know, a patch basically just stuck on the front. No viewer of the picture would ever been any of the wiser. And instead we have this inlaid detail with these shapes sewn in from behind, and then the shield integral to the tunic with these bits just to finish off because they're too small to do anything else with. Just, you know, the kind of the sheer effort,
the dedication
gone into producing this thing. Vinyl belt, hand sculpted, cast, painted. The fabric we've spoken about over and over. Originally milled in Austria, one of the very first lycra spandex fabrics to be made available. Noel Howard of Bermans and Nathans suggesting this to Yvonne Blake as the answer to the superhero costume question. The boots, kind of different than we've seen before as well. These are lacking the detail in the top. Some of them have steel supports in these risers here, just to keep the shape of them. These don't. I think they look better for it actually, because they look a bit over-engineered with when they're there. In perfect condition as well, these. As I was talking about in the intro, look at this. The slots for each individual umbrella type pole gets slotted into those. And then as the machine is in operation, it literally flaps the cape to suggest the illusion of flying. We know that this was also used when Chris was wearing the harness, because we have slits for the flying harness, which have subsequently been repaired. The clever thing is that when it's worn, say it was worn as a walking cape later on, that none of that would have been noticeable because it's buried inside the pleats from the shoulders. We can actually make out that there's a Bermans and Nathans tag inside the belt. That's a terrific thing. So all the hallmarks, if you like, are in place here. Everything is exactly as it should be.
It is kind of alien in itself. It's a blue with like a metallic sheen. I don't think the camera captures that metallic sheen that you see. You can almost see it glisten with the light. It's otherworldly. I've never seen anything like it.
Which truly fits in with its Kryptonian heritage, I suppose. But I think the closest that it actually appears to its appearance here is the 4K version of it. If you watch some scenes in the 4K, especially the balcony scene, there's a glimmer of how the blue actually looks in person. Otherwise, it's photographed at night and it just looks navy blue. So, and this is the kind of debate that we've been having for the last 20 years about, you know, what colour is Superman's costume. Again, this is, we can pick this up by the fact that the tunic is somewhat more faded to the tights. The tights is the closest to the blue that we know of. But, you know, the fact that it's faded, that's what the Superman costumes do. That's how you know you're getting the genuine article. That's what it is. That's the difference. That's the provenance. It's all right there. Now, for anybody of my age or thereabouts, which we won't be discussing right now, you'll have a very fond memory of a BBC TV show called Multicoloured Swap Shop. And there's a clip available to watch on YouTube which is absolutely mesmerizing. And this here hoodie makes an appearance because it's brought in by Christopher Reeve himself as a prize for a competition. It makes it 1/3 of an incredible lot, which comprises of 2 scripts. Now, Alexei, tell me about these.
Well, these are potentially my favourite items within this auction, and certainly ones that I would love to go for. But inside, we have it inscribed to the competition winner, Lisa. Congratulations, best wishes, Christopher Reeve, 8th of February 1980. What a phenomenal prize that would have been. It also came with a letter from the BBC congratulating and stating her prize from Superman 1. So 2 was already on the table, wasn't it?
Yep.
So it got all the timings in as well.
Yep, and all the stage directions.
Oh, fantastic.
So you have heard the evidence. He looks off, left, and then turns to look at the Council of Elders. Camera pans onto second elder. The decision of the council will now be heard. So this is the film, complete with stage directions and dialogue, and a shot list. So this isn't just any script. This isn't just words on paper. This is the entire picture. No wonder it's over 2 volumes. Another one of the super rare lots this year is this incredible chunk of Kryptonite from Superman 3. This is the actual prop handed over from Gus Gorman, Richard Pryor's character, to Christopher Reeve. Shot in Calgary, I believe, fellas? Yes.
Yep.
And young Andy, this is his favourite piece, so he's going to talk us through it.
This is my favourite piece because I'm a huge fan of Superman 3. It was the first one I saw at the cinema with my dad when I was 8. And I've always wanted to see this up close and personal, getting close to it. It is just absolutely fabulous. And it light shines through it. It seems to glow. It's quite heavy, to be honest, although it's only resin. But it's the real deal. And one of the things we found today is in the movie when Gus Gorman takes it out of the wooden box to give it to Superman, there's a bit of a sort of sound, which is from double-sided tape, which is attached to the bottom, which is in the middle of this box. And you hear that quite plainly in the movie. So we know this is the real deal. And to be up close and personal with this is a highlight of my day.
It's kind of the essential plot point, isn't it, really?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
this is what turns Superman bad, and Superman being bad is probably the highlight of the entire film.
Yeah.
So,
Which just goes to prove that smoking is bad for you.
well,
Yeah. It's a marvellous piece,
And how much is it going for, do we know?
15,000, I believe.
I think it's currently on at 22,500.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Wow. But what a great piece to have. Screen matched. I'd love to own it.
We're going to be back, aren't we? We're going to keep coming back with different stuff.
Our
Our very good friend Tim, the manager here, just looks forward to seeing us every year. Rolls the red carpet out for us, and they couldn't be more accommodating in Propstore. If you've not managed to visit and you're into any aspect of filmmaking from the last 30, 40, 50 years, then this is heaven.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of a better word, but I can't.
heaven.
Can you?
It's like a museum where you can actually get really close up to things, and if you're very
Yeah.
lucky, you're allowed to actually touch them.
It's interactive, but it shouldn't be, in my opinion. You know, I mean, the guys are so nice and saying, well, if it means that much to you, then get up close. It's fine. So, I mean, where else can you do that? So, that's as much as I can say about Propstore. They're so good to us. If we're here next year, can you imagine that? That will be 7 times.
Seven
Seven
times.
times.
6 physical and 1 virtual, wasn't it?
So the gauntlet is thrown. I mean, if they can do it, if they can come up with something else, we'll be amazed. But one thing is that for absolutely sure, we will be here and we'll be bringing you the best of it. So stay tuned. Hope you enjoy what you're going to see next. Thank you so much for watching. Say thank you, Al.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.